Okay, and we click here. Yeah, I'm up and recording. Give me a second. Hi, greetings everybody. This is Wesley Pepper. This is the Art Lecture podcast. This is episode 148. So again, we're nearing that 150 mark. And as I said, I want to do something. Mostly because, the app should be operational. I've got a marketing thingy. And the more I think about it, the more I think I will actually do something. But anyway, also don't forget to check out African Genius podcast that I do with Uncle Sol Plaatje. The links is all on my page. And don't forget to check out the work I did with Mustafa Jinadu. Those links are also up on my page. But today, as you can see, I'm live. Or I'm rather recording live in the studio, but I'm talking to an old friend of mine from back in the day. I was trying to think of like a metaphor, but it's like a back in the day type of shit. With Chepape Makgato, an old friend of mine from artist proof days. So we're talking almost 20 years.
Yeah.
But he's been working. Yeah, it's been a long time. A long time. But he's been working in the Williams Humphry Art Gallery. First of all, Chepape, good morning. It's still morning.
Yes, it is.
Good morning.
Good morning,
technically
my brother.
afternoon.
Afternoon.
Yeah, well,
just 20 minutes after afternoon.
We're precise, you see.
So
good morning. How are you doing?
I'm good, my brother. I'm good to be here. I remember that in your earliest podcasts, you featured me, and I'm grateful to be back.
Yeah. When we did that, just to recap to the listeners that don't know, that was during the hard lockdown.
Yes.
Everything was it was actually a different world back then, and just as a lot has changed since then.
Yes.
So my brother, let's start from the beginning. You
Right.
are now working at Williams Humphry Art Gallery. Tell us a bit about the work you're doing there, and we'll unpack it from there.
Yeah, I've been working at the Williams Humphry Art Gallery since last year, August. So it has been a very exciting opportunity to work there and to contribute my skills and my expertise to the museum. And I occupy the position as a chief curator, and I have a wonderful team of people whom I work with, and we've been cooking interesting things, and we are also cooking something for this month on the 18th of July.
Could you speak a bit louder, please?
Yes, I'm saying that
Yeah.
we've been cooking some interesting things there, and I'm pretty much excited to be here and to be working at Williams Humphry Art Gallery, and also to be in Kimberley, because I see Kimberley like my hometown, Polokwane. So it's a small town, and except that this is a small town with a lot of incredible history in terms of you have few cultural museums and that we don't have in Polokwane. We have very few, and I think the place is just incredibly exciting, and I'm always fascinated by the history of Kimberley, it being one of those first cities that had electricity.
The electric poles.
Yes, and also that the Wits University that we see started here as a School of Engineering and Science. So it's a very exciting city to be in, and I think it has also given me more time to do my other things like writing, because in Johannesburg it's a very busy place. So being here has offered me the privilege of going back to my writing as well. So
Okay, let's take it a step back before we get to the writing about Williams Humphry Gallery. And just for my listeners also, it's a very interesting. That was actually the first gallery, I would say the first creative space in general that I actually set foot in. I was, I don't know, really small. It has that kind of, it's very nostalgic for me. And not the first show, I think my second or third show I did like as a professional, I did there as well.
Okay, and how long was it ago?
This was when I was still at APS.
Okay.
Early 2000s.
Okay.
There and thereabout. But I want to bring it back to that space, and you can sort of unpack. 'Cause I know you guys do a lot of projects there, and I sort of want to, we can sort of talk about that, because the one thing I know about that space, and I want to sort of unpack this for you. So growing up here, especially in high school, I was that park opposite the gallery was a hangout spot.
Yeah.
And a lot of young people started young. There was actually very little connection, or people used to look at that space and know it exists, but nobody used to ever like walk across the road and go into the space. So what that said, it has actually quite an interesting history as interesting as part of the history of Kimberley. So tell us about all the projects that William Humphry is involved in. What guys are curating and your involvement and so forth. Yeah.
Cool. My involvement with the museum is to give it an artistic direction.
Sure.
And I think we've done exciting projects like I mentioned, and I'll just single out one.
Yeah, please. Let's do that.
We brought in Professor Zix Mda last year to the museum in the form of a residency, and most people don't know him as a painter. So what was interesting was that he's been painting before he could become a writer. He is. So he allowed us, afforded us an opportunity to come to the museum last year, November, where he came for his exhibition, which I curated, called Always the Sun. So it was just based on some of his work that commemorates some moments, political moments in South Africa, like Marikana, and also honoring the cultural workers who passed on. And here I talk of Yuma Sekela, we talk Gloria Bosman, we talk also about Ndate Jonas Kwangwa. So his exhibition was well received by the community, and the fact that during his stay here he gave a public lecture on intertextuality
at the gallery
at the
university.
At the gallery. So and for me it was very interesting to see our colleagues from the university coming to support us and attending the public lecture and engaging with the public lecture and the creative writing master classes that he also gave. So it was very interesting project to have, and it sort of really it was a buzz, it had a lot more people coming in for the opening exhibition, interacting with the lineup of the projects or activities that we have put together. So yeah, it was a very interesting project.
So tell us a little bit more about other type of projects that you guys are doing, and also I know the gallery also does a lot of outreach stuff with various schools and so forth. What's on the especially like we are now in July. Moving forward from here, for the projects for the rest of the year.
Okay, cool. Another project that we revived Artist in Residency project.
Tell us a little bit about that. Yeah. How does it work and all that?
It's a brainchild of the late Dumisani Mabasa. So what happened was that when he passed on, we sort of didn't have the program, but also because accommodation space is not fit for accommodation or to accommodate artists, but it's fit for artists to work in. The studio is fit for working. So we went on to revive that project, and how it happened is that we made an open call. So the open call was sent out late December, and I think the closing date was somewhere in January. So people had about more than 3 weeks to apply, And we had an overwhelming applications
For
from
sure.
artists, and also
Mostly local or abroad as well?
I mean local in the sense of South Africa.
Yeah.
So, and I mean we might have received over 300 applications, and we ended up having to really go through the applications, and one artist could take it. So
How long was the residence for?
the residence was 8 weeks.
2 months, no?
Yeah, 2 months, and it also resulted in an exhibition presentation, which all went very, very well. And also, while we were in that artist residency, we also introduced or launched Art Writer in Residence.
Yeah, that sounds interesting. Yeah, tell us a little bit about that. I heard of that one as well.
Yeah, Art Writer in Residence, we launched it to just test the waters to see how best can we expand our collection reach, like how audience can really be afforded an opportunity to really read and understand
Sure.
about our collection. So what we did was that
Sure.
the art writers are graduates from Sol Plaatje, and they've never written about art before, but
That's
they're
interesting.
studying creative writing.
So in art, can you just be a bit more specific? So what about art? Like just
Writing
reviewing
about
paintings or
reviewing paintings, interacting with paintings, interpreting them the way they would understand it. It's like an art critique of some sort.
Yeah.
So
And this is critiquing the collection of Williams Humphry Gallery, right?
Yes. So the brief was that they choose, because they were two, and we expected 5,000 words from each. So they would then choose 5 artists whom they can base their text on. And what came from that was very interesting to see how important it is to give access to our collection, to give public access to our collection, and get young people to interact with our collection, and that is culminating into an exhibition on the works that they wrote about, which is going to be launched on the 18th of July.
Yeah, I was gonna ask that. That was gonna be my question. So can you tell us what artists they chose, and can you tell us what they maybe not what they wrote about, but can you give me a sense of like how they experienced the work, what they understood, and so forth?
Before they started, I mentored them, and we had series of virtual workshops.
Sorry. So these are writers all based at the university, correct?
Yes, writers from the township from Khehla, based at Sol Plaatje University. They are now doing their honors degree.
Okay.
So what then happened was that we had people like Shona Tu, who's a very well respected writer, historian.
Yeah.
He gave them a workshop on writing. And we also have Pesima Bandu, Pesi. He gave them also insights on writing about their what they see around them. So, and
interesting.
We also had Dr. Wayne Florence, who is the director of exhibitions and research from Iziko Museum, who gave them a workshop or a lecture on how to look at exhibitions and how to research about exhibition. So basically, those kind of workshops sort of equipped them. It became a tool for them to really go on this wall of writing about art with. So they chose artists like Tatisem Chengetwa. They chose Nombuso Bororo. They chose Brenda Ramadie. You know Brenda. So they chose again. I think Ulrich Roberts. They chose. I think they chose Kimati Komo or Komu. So I mean, they chose various artists, local
various,
artists.
various,
from also another one chose Me Esther Mahlangu. So I mean,
so just question: did each writer choose multiple artists, or did they
of
just
course
choose one?
they each chose 5 artists.
Oh yeah. Okay, yeah, I forgot. Okay.
Yeah.
And they had to write one piece about all 5, right? Or on.
Yeah, they had to write one comprehensive piece on all the 5 artists, meaning it would be like 5,000 text comprising 5 artists.
So what happens to the text after that?
So
where do you guys publish it?
We are going to publish. We are publishing a catalog, which will be maybe available at the opening. So, on the opening of the exhibition on the 18th of July,
which is Mandela Day.
But I mean, it had nothing to do with.
It's not. It's not. Okay.
Yeah. So it's happening on Mandela Day, and we're going to have them also curate the works that they chose.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
the exhibition, are you going to publish the text next to the work, or will the
text
be
be
separate?
The text is going to be inside a catalog, but there will be labels that speaks to who's the artist, the medium, and the year the work was done. And we hope that people get to enjoy reading about the artworks from young voices in a way.
Yeah. Just as as somebody who works now in the podcasting, but like as you know, I work as a publisher and so forth. I know the value of having not just young people, but people talk about art and not just necessarily review it, but actually just talk about it in general and publish it. There's a lot of value in that, and not too much of that going around. And also just an interesting point about the art writers. There's not many. Actually, I know of a handful. Actually, I also spoke to David Mann the other day. He's like a mainstream art writer. Not many. It's not something that many writers write about. So that's actually quite cool. So you're just trying to develop that industry here. And how's that? Like, are the I guess it's too early to tell. But are the writers enthusiastic? Are they excited about? Some of them maybe want to, write, do it further in their career?
I think they're very excited, and I think we'll also have their reflections not only in text but also video of like 2 minutes.
So he's documenting the whole process.
Yeah.
That's dope.
So, and the reason why we sort of launched this project is because of that scarcity of art writers, and especially Black art writers in South Africa.
That's a good point.
And for me as an art writer myself, I feel like it's very important to have young writers who are writing about our own work, and just before I got here, I was doing a walkabout to some visitors at the museum, and I explained to them that the reason why us Black artists get to be forgotten after we are gone is on the basis that people cannot interact with our work beyond just seeing the work. So meaning there are no books published on the work that we do, our philosophies, our thinking and all that, which sort of limits a reach of audience. Because if you write about if somebody come and write about your work, not only thesis, not dissertation, but if somebody come and write about your work in monograph and they publish it, it expands your reach, because that monograph can find its way in libraries, academia and all. And then also it might spark interest of a researcher who doesn't know what they can write about, and they can pick up that monograph and really read it and develop interest in your work and expand it even more. So this is sort of an intervention, and I think it's one of a kind, because I do not know of a museum or a gallery that has an art writer residency program in South Africa.
That's an interesting point.
Yeah.
That's an interesting point.
Mm.
And I think that's also something I just want to run with a little bit. So in doing that, now, can you just give us like a, I guess like, and we're dreaming here, but we're dreaming practically.
Yeah.
So, and also I just wanted to highlight a point. You are 100% correct on that of artists. I had a recording the other day with a similar thing, but to do with language. In documenting our indigenous and local languages, and sort of the process in how to do that. I'm well aware of that thing of the lack of artists. So I guess coming from working for the gallery, in publishing a let's just call it it's probably a journal, if that's the right word, with all those essays. How will the public get hold of it? So what other I guess outreach projects, is that the right word, or how else will the public use and market it, and so forth and so forth?
I think the public will get to buy the catalog at a very reasonable fee, and the catalog is going to be electronic. It could
so like an ebook,
it could be shared, but also
that's very interesting.
We also going to have to do a series of 10 posts on social media on the text that they wrote about each artist, so that the public get to access the work that these young writers did. So it's more about trying to also create accessibility to their work and to our collection. And another point that I wanted to point out is that because we have series of outreach projects that are happening, and the first one this year is going to happen around the 25th. It's like that 3 days.
The 25th of July.
Yeah, they're going, because we are doing them around Northern Cape.
Oh, where about around
I do not have the actual place, but it's a school around Northern Cape. So our focus with outreach programs is to go to the very
far outreaching
areas, and we'll be going to Appington and Kurumane as well as part of our project. And also we'll have an outreach inside the museum maybe later this year, where we'll be inviting schools.
Let's just let me just take a step back. I want to know that what is the reaction that you get from all of these outreaching areas? What's the firstly, what art are they? What creative process are they using? Are they painters? Are they writers? And are they interested? Is there already I guess a culture of art in these communities?
Remember, our outreach project is not only confined to going to schools. We have an ongoing outreach project that we are doing with prisons here. Women's prisons.
That's interesting.
And the works that the offenders produce get to be displayed in our gallery.
I remember that.
I myself, I have bought few artworks from the prison project, and also next year around March we're going to have the prisoners exhibition, so which we do after every 2 years. So
just a question: if the artwork gets sold, does a prisoner get
the money goes to the prison or to the artist?
How does that work? Interesting. I mean, I'm fascinated. How does it work? Is there a certain banking system? And
I mean, there should be a certain bank for that, a system, a bank system that does that. So we don't even charge any percentage. So it's like also the Northern Cape Artist Exhibition that we have after every 2 years also. The money goes to the artists.
Another question. Because you're in prison, who sets the value of the artworks, and can you disclose how much? Because my understanding is, say if you're incarcerated for 10, I don't know, for some time,
Yeah.
then can they sort of take that money and maybe put it in a bank and interest grow on it?
I think I'm not going to speak
That type of
about
thing.
that type of transactions, but what I
Yeah,
know
yeah,
is that
yeah,
the
yeah.
money goes
Yeah.
to the artist.
That's super interesting. I never
Yeah,
knew that.
yeah.
Interesting.
I mean,
Yeah.
I mean the work that I bought.
Yeah, what does the work about?
price is determined by their teacher,
Ah.
who is teaching them. My
Is
colleague.
that teacher also part of William Humphry's?
Works. Yeah, he's the principal curator for public programs, public and educational programs.
Okay.
And I mean, those are the most affordable pieces that you can. I mean, I bought about 3 pieces.
Okay.
Each one was 500 rand.
Okay.
They are like original works on
Okay.
canvas.
Paintings.
Paintings. Yeah.
Okay.
They do paintings.
Okay.
They are very beautiful, and
Okay.
I think one time when you walk when you stop by the museum, I'll show you the work that they did.
Interesting.
You would be forgiven to think
This guy is sitting in incarcerated.
Yeah. I mean, which then goes back to the impact of William Humphry's work of training the offenders, people who haven't been trained to do art.
That's a brilliant concept of sort of rehabilitating.
It's rehabilitating.
That is beautiful.
Yeah. When they go back into the community,
then they've got a skill and they have some money.
Yeah.
So they can literally that's brilliant.
Yeah, so those are some of the works that we do at William Humphry, and I'm very excited to be part of
Sure.
William Humphry's Art Gallery
Sure.
team, and our work speaks for itself.
Yeah, man. The thing with the prison is fascinating. Because as you were saying, I actually do recall at one show seeing a few artworks, and my first thing wasn't like, oh, this guy is probably behind bars, because my first I guess what I would have expecting is something either overtly political, very depressing, and probably very somber in terms of color, and these were like just beautiful scenes.
They were very beautiful scenes.
It seemed like these cats were literally escaping through however long these workshops are, and that is incredible.
Yeah,
that is incredible. So big up to you and the gallery for that.
Thank you. And I think credit goes to Hester Marie, who is the principal curator of outreach and public education. Yeah.
That's fucking cool, Chepape. So let's we sort of I sort of want to drift it into more your type of work. One thing in the beginning of the recording, you were saying that you have time to write. Yes. So I know I've read your blog as well. I'm familiar that.
And what do you think of the blog?
I guess my first it's definitely got your personality all over it, and it's cool, man. And like what I also the point that we made about the lack of art writers. I think that is something that needs to it needs to be a bit more mainstream, and I will definitely add, just for the listeners, I'll add all those links to the description so you can check it out there. But since you've been here, what now, a little bit over a year, so
going a year now.
What is the right, I guess not what are you writing about, but like what are you sort of connecting with? What are you seeing? What are you conceptualizing? And just tell us a little bit, like, what direction is that? Do you wanna move with that?
Okay. Ever since I got here, a friend of ours, a common friend, Sabat Ampo,
yes, sir.
He has been taking me around interesting places here in Kimberley, and the first one that he took me to was Samaria Road. That's water camp where the sifters are. These guys are sifting the soil.
Okay.
Years ago, and it's a very interesting area in a sense that those guys they still have sense of humility. They still have sense of what is popularly known as Ubuntu. And I'll give you an example. Each one has a certain, it's been I don't know who allocates the piece of land that they will sift.
That's actually a very content. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
actually a topic for another day.
Yeah,
But continue.
So,
continue.
but the point I'm trying to put across is that if you have your own heap of soil that you are presently sifting, and maybe you happen to have something, because most of them they're not from here. So let's say he's from Limpopo or Lesotho, and he has to go home. When he goes home, he will come back and still find his heap of soil the way he left
Really?
it. Yeah.
Wow.
No one is interfering with.
Wow.
That is not theirs.
Okay.
So
that's interesting.
Yeah, I mean the sense of respect for other people's things.
Other people's
it's
property.
just something that we can learn.
Why? It's definitely not like that anywhere else.
No,
we
man.
all know that.
Yeah, and
wow.
And they have interesting stories to tell. And
so you've been interviewing and talking
to them. I attempted doing a series of watercolors based on their stories and them, but most significantly, I had worked on 2 short stories that really speaks about the stories that they tell me. As much as the short stories are based on their realities, there's some sort of fiction to them. So I wrote a short story called The Sifters that is based on one guy whom they call Polokwane, on the basis that
he's
he
from
comes from
Polokwane. Yeah, I know they do that.
Yeah, so and it was very interesting, and you know the nearest town of this guy is not even Polokwane. You know, he's from Jane Fez. Jane Fez is another small town. Okay. Small town. Smaller town.
Yeah.
So, but it was interesting to see that he also had embraced the Polokwane as an identity. And and they do share as well.
Share as in like resources?
Like, they share resources. Like they would, when we visit them on weekends, someone who scored that diamond and sold it or whatever.
I wanted to ask about that.
No. Then they would make a bride. They would buy me together. Yeah.
With all the other
with the other colleagues.
Wow.
So it's a very interesting I think they live in a very interesting world.
Wow.
outside our normal day, ordinary day, where we don't care about each other. We don't really give a damn. So
interesting.
Very interesting.
Interesting. Just a few things. The diamonds that they are mining, are these? I know because there's like a various different types of diamonds.
Yeah.
Are these industrial diamonds, or is that also? I guess that also a narrative or in the story that you're interested in, because I know that there's also the size matters and you know there's all these things.
I think what they had explained, because I'm not familiar with the whole industry of diamonds, but what I've learned from them is that depending on the size of the carat that they get, the bigger the carat, then the more money. But this Polokwane guy whom I'm writing about, I happened to be there when he sort of found that diamond.
Okay, so you saw the process and the whole.
I saw the process, and I mean, immediately when he found that gold, then he's like, it's done for the day.
Yeah.
So, but then he explained to me that he was not going to get a certain amount of money because that diamond had a crack inside it.
It's flawed and
but it was very interesting to hear also how they are in tune with the soil that they are working. They are working, not planting, but working to sift, hoping to get these gems, this mineral. And there's a certain type of rock that they call it Kimberley. but they call it in Sesotho. They say Koboya Diamond. It's like a blanket, a diamond blanket, meaning once you have that, you have sort of more chances to get the gold inside that kind of particular rock or particular kimberlite. So for me, they have interesting stories. And
let's get back to the writing, because I want to sort of unpack that a little bit. So you say you're writing short stories, right?
Yeah.
Why short stories first and foremost? And you're saying you're talking about the I guess because I find this process interesting. Maybe you can talk about the process first and then the medium. So you say you were interacting, you're talking to them, you actually saw the guy get the diamond. I'm sure the amount of emotion and stuff. Just explain to us, like, what's going through your mind when you're seeing this. How are you looking to represent this guy, and yeah, are you trying to make him sort of like a working class hero, or you trying to, but you get what I'm saying.
I think for me, because I love happy stories, so for me, in the short story, I'm capturing the exciting moments and also the journey to that exciting moment, as being seen from digging from one place, sifting the soil, finding nothing, moving to the next side.
I sort of see the plot, the sort of endurance
and also because these people, where they come from, they building incredible houses for themselves from this.
Are they making I guess it's profitable?
Yeah,
it's so they probably taking the money, sending it back home.
Yeah. Once they sell some, they sell something in the call it what do you call it, they say black market, or but I don't want to use that word, but because there are middlemen whom they sell this to, and they take it elsewhere. So once they sell, they then send money home. But also, I've been listening to them and their wishes and their dreams, and they dream of simple things like, you know what, once I can get a diamond, I'm going to dine at a certain place.
So the way they're dreaming.
The way they're dreaming, to say, you know what, once I get this one, I'm gonna go and dine there. And also there's a community there, and there's this guy who has a shop or a supermarket. He's the one who sort of help them with some community amenities that they may want. For example, there was a moment where they had to build a community center where they could gather when they want to address the community council. We call it Khoro, for example. So he built them a shanty for them to converge whenever they have other issues to address in the community. And I think he was sort of paying back or plowing back to the community that he's getting money from by selling some groceries there. So, and there's also a tavern there.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
There's a supermarket, there's a tavern, and
those two go next to each other.
And they do use solar panels.
Yeah, that's something. Just for my listeners, also, the climate here in Northern Cape also allows that thing. There's actually quite a few solar panels. You'll actually be surprised. I'm not surprised about that. So, just another question on the writing. So, you've been writing there for a while. You say you've got 1 or 2 stories. I guess, like, moving forward, are you looking to do like a collection of stories? Because and here's the thing about your work, because I know that your primary theme across your work was sort of a celebration of women.
Yeah.
And I know you've been working that for the longest time.
Yeah.
And now this is completely different. Yeah. So just explain to me, like, sort of where you sort of want to take this to. What do you want this collection of short stories to eventually to become?
These short stories, I have 8 so far.
Okay.
That I'm working on and maybe send them to anytime, blah blah.
Yeah, man.
But another story is based on Khehla Township. It's based on a woman who works for an Indian owner. I was surprised to see that Indians have, and I have nothing against Indians, but I'm used to them at Oriental Plaza, for example, back in Johannesburg.
Yeah.
But it was surprising to see
a
container owned by an Indian man, old man and his son, and a sister working for them doing kota or spatlu, you know. So I wrote a story based on that sort of observations, and I had to go back to capture the essence of that place. And because I had imagined this sister going to a supermarket, I had to then go to that supermarket and capture the essence. But it's basically a story of a sister who has 2 kids and works for this guy, for Indian guy. But I brought in an interesting element where it was a payday. Then the Indian guy paid her, but he didn't make an immediate payment. So then, and her thinking that it was immediate payment, she goes to the bank and she punches. And this was based on me on a parking lot looking at people at the ATM. This lady was punching in.
The money is not.
The money is not coming out. The stress. How crestfallen she. So those kind of things that
just a question. In doing that, are you taking photos or are you just watching? Are you taking notes? Are you taking sketches?
I'm watching. I'm watching and making notes on my phone.
Okay. Yeah. I was gonna ask that. So then what happens after that? So once you I guess seen enough. Yeah. Do you go home? Do you write? That process.
I observe and take notes, and when I get home, I'll try to really elaborate on a thought and observation.
Interesting. And no painting, no visual art. Do these stories, are they illustrated?
These stories are not illustrated per se. I had attempted like I mentioned, 2 watercolor pieces based on the how, because they're using a pick to dig.
Okay.
So I made a few pieces that sort of are reminiscent of the Song of a Pig by Gerard Sekoto. But I haven't really given myself
I see
time.
those paintings.
I did something that I still need to visit and really. But you know what? I'm a very flexible artist. I work with what comes to my mind at that time. I'm not going to imprison myself on a particular idea to work so hard to produce and maybe stress because I'm not coming alright with it. I have this idea, I work on it, I then no longer have inspiration, I leave it, I move to the next one. So that's why also when you look at my work, I deal with different kind of things, but there is a dominance of women leaders. But that's why also it was easy for me to then go and write about the sifters, which you remarked it's totally different from what you've known my work to be.
Interesting. So, you another point?
No, I'm fine.
Okay, yeah, man. So, sort of wrapping up, just like our, this is an observation about art. I know, like, even with myself, like because the culture of Joburg was fast.
Yeah.
So it's conceptualized into like even smaller things. So like you even think a work fast, even sometimes the medium that you're using might also be fast, the way you print and so forth. You mentioned here earlier on about like you taking your time. And I know that that's also, as I'm growing old, I'm realizing that's actually quite a superpower, because to be patient I think that's a skill. Actually, it takes a skill. So this is an ongoing process. You're saying multiple stories, maybe some illustrations. That's cool. You got the work there at the gallery as well. So I guess you got to balance everything. So that's actually quite cool. So I guess long not long term, but I'm talking like 5 years or so. Are you planning to be around this part of the world for a while? And yeah, let's just start there, and we'll sort of wrap up with the art.
I mean,
Did Kimberley move you, or because they say you just say this is something? Actually, I never told anybody. It just came to me. I heard this line in high school.
yeah.
They say in Kimberley, and this is like 1,000 years ago, because we
Yeah.
are older than we look. Yeah, they said in Kimberley you cry twice.
Yeah.
When you come and when you leave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
You get the metaphor, right?
yeah. For me, I feel I'm gonna stay here as long as my service is still needed, and as long as I'm not called elsewhere. And called elsewhere should not be mistaken by a competitive organization to work calling me. No, I mean I may be called by Limpopo as a province as a place where
because
I
you do a
built
lot of
house
work there too. Yeah.
I mean, if I feel like, you know what, I need to just go back to Limpopo and stay there, or I could just go and stay, go to Secunda to my lovely lady. And I mean, I always tell people that I see my place here as being at a train station or a bus station, waiting for another train or a bus. So it's not like I'm.
No, I totally get you. I get you.
Yeah.
And no, Joburg?
Joburg, I'm cool with Joburg. Joburg, I miss Joburg when I want to go to theaters. That's the only thing. I'm very cool. I think Joburg has given me most of the things that I want.
My brother, you know, I'm laughing because Joburg to me was a drug, so to speak, man. And I needed it. You know, I needed it. I guess that's why I was there for so long. I needed it.
Yeah.
And it was a drug. It gave me a high, it gave me a low, but I needed it. So I get you say you're cool. Yeah, I know. And when you're saying like missing theater, like yeah, for sure I miss the jazz shows, the poetry and so forth.
The only thing I miss about Johannesburg is it's a rich culture, you know, diversity.
Yeah, man.
And I think I forgot to mention to you about this Art Writers project.
Yeah, please.
So we are talking to Joburg Theatre.
Interesting.
About the possibility of the art writers going there on a 1-month residency where they would write about theatre and productions happening at the Joburg Theatre, Roodepoort Theatre, and Soweto Theatre. So we're still in talks because I take this art writing seriously, and the reason why I'm taking it so seriously is that back then when I worked at David Crutch, and you look at the bookshelves, because it's a bookstore, art bookstore, you see the representation that we still have a long way to go. You have art books mostly on white artists, could be local and international, and those books written by
other white males.
Yeah. And for me, I use that as an inspiration to say,
I love
what is it that we can
contrast
do?
to that. Just a quick question on how this will work. So you say you like Joburg Theatre, Roodepoort Theatre, Soweto Theatre. These are all government institutions, right?
They're the city council, yeah.
City council, so they fall under the local government. So is that why? Is that the reason why those theatres are chosen? Or in other words, because kind of what I want to lean to is that like this almost sounds like you're trying to franchise out. I didn't know art galleries can sort of work with each other like that. I thought they all work in isolation.
I think
that's interesting. I didn't know that.
That is where our sector is not growing, because we work in isolation. You don't collaborate.
Tell us a little bit about that. I mean, we still have a little bit more time.
Yeah. I mean, we are in talks. It's not finalized.
But they are interested in
They are interested in this project, art writing project. So if things go well, then the art writers would be going to Joburg for a month, be a resident art writer there, and get to understand even the processes of production being staged. And I understand that a month is too short. But
I mean,
for them to get exposed to the,
you gotta start somewhere.
To be exposed to say, okay, in order for a performance to be finally on stage, what are some of the things what are some of behind the scene? So I suppose that they will be exposed to the rehearsals, and they will be exposed to maybe opening night, and also just interact with other actors and theater practitioners, because the whole idea is that the writers should not be confined into writing about visual arts only.
That's a very good point. Or just painting, because there's so much. And also what I like about what you're saying, it also allows some of maybe those productions to come here. And some of maybe there's a few local productions to go there. That's actually quite dope.
I believe in institutional collaboration, and I think we achieved that with the inaugural exhibition that I did when I got the job.
The one was like
No, Peter Clark. So Peter Clark was my first exhibition that I curated from the collection, and upon its final run at Williams Humphry's, I had been communicating with other institutions in Gauteng, because I wanted that exhibition to travel across South Africa, thereby fostering institutional collaborations. And it is one of the greatest highlights of the work that I've done at Williams Humphry, and that's how I choose to see it, because after its run, it went to Springs Art Gallery. Remember, Springs Art Gallery is in East Rand, Ekurhuleni. So then it was interesting to see on the poster of that exhibition the 3 levels of government: the national government, which is us, the provincial the provincial Department of Sports, Arts and Culture, Gauteng, and the city of Ekurhuleni, having these 3 administrative means not colliding but coming together in one poster. That is a visual art. It's a rare occasion, because we see that with music, where like with concerts you find that those 3 levels of government are collaborating. But for the visual art, for me, it was like amazing. So, and this exhibition will also be traveling to Polokwane Art Museum. I think it might also go to Cape Town. So the main idea is that we understand that if we have Peter Clark exhibition and we have a good number of works from works collection, we understand that a young person in Ekurhuleni, Israel, Kwatema, may not even set a foot in Kimberley. So
or outside of the East Rand.
Exactly. But we are saying, as much as we are a national museum, we can make some of our exhibitions accessible to the nation. Taking it to East Rand, it was amazing to see young people communicating with that exhibition. And they came to me and they said, I thought Peter Clark was a white person.
He does have a white name.
Because he has a white name. So those are kind of conversations that are very interesting. And if a city council doesn't have resources and a national museum or a national theater has resources, why can't we collaborate and share the resources so that the public, the citizens, get to benefit?
Salute to that, Chepape. What is the you say these institutions are interested in collaborating. I don't want to get too political, but what's the red tape? Why is there always a stumbling block amongst?
I may not be an expert in speaking to that, because you remember I've only started working in this kind of environment not long ago, so I'm not going to be speaking as an expert. But what I can tell you is that some of the institutions like City of Ekurhuleni through Springs Art Gallery agreed to collaborate with us because we reached out to them. We're reaching out to Johannesburg Art Gallery, Johannesburg Theatre. And some people would say, but it's not a gallery. But that's not the case. The case is that it's still art. It's still art.
It's still art.
So for me, the thing of working in silos, it actually do more damage to what we are thinking we are building. Because one day, 50 years from now, young artist would look back and say, I know of Wesley Pepper. What did he do to make the sector look better so that I can join in? Right now, we are honoring the Rockies Drift Art alumni for the role that they played in terms of getting formal education in the arts, which was denied to them by apartheid. But the Rocks Drift catered to the black professionals to take professional art, and you look at the kind of impact that Rock Drift has done. Massive. It's massive. You have Sam Kangeto as one of the alumni who's they are our inspiration. So I always think of what is it that I'm contributing for the next generation of arts practitioners, that they can look back and say, but there came Chepape and this is what he did.
Let me ask you another question based off that. And we're sort of wrapping up here, so I know you're a busy man. You were saying about access, also the concept of the theme access also came up. Are you guys collaborating with any technical, with any tech, as in like either AI, 5G, online presence for example, let's just use an example, the Peter Clark show. Is that show only available at in a museum? Because I know there's also terms and conditions around that. Can you just explain to us a little bit about that? Is there any talks of guys moving in that direction?
No, I mean, they are at a very infant stage, so I cannot speak much on that kind of.
Do you perhaps know why? I mean, given that it is the year 2024.
I mean, remember, museums have been there for a long time, and they've been operating like it was 1952.
They're still using the same model, but I mean, it's 2024.
Yeah, I mean, it's young people who come with that new energy into those spaces that they will change the complexion, but they will do that complexion change against odds, because there will be people who've been there for a long time and they're not kind to, they don't respond kindly to the change.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So I mean,
are you keen to explore more avenues in that?
Yeah, I'm very much keen, because for me, access is key. I mean,
that phone over there, that's the future right there, my brother. We were doing this podcast over a phone. Imagine 20 years ago, I said I could come with a phone. Like you think what? Exactly. Anyway,
so it's very much important, and
Chepape, my brother. Like I said, we know each other. I think we were both two different people back then. It's interesting. I love how things change and how they keep coming back.
Yeah.
So thank you very much, my king, for coming, taking your time out. Can you tell my listeners, while we're wrapping up, where can they get hold of everything to do with you? So your writing, social media posts, and with regards to Williams Humphry Gallery as well.
They can visit our website, www.whag, that is WHAG.co.za. They can follow our pages on Instagram. We are Williams Humphry Art Gallery, and on Facebook we are Williams Humphry Art Gallery as well. With me, they can follow my work on Instagram, that is at Chepape the Great, and on Facebook is Khehla Chepape Makgato, and my blog is Samantole Arts Foundation. So if they can just say my blog is Chepape Makgato Blogspot, so they could access my writing there.
Yeah, and for the listeners, I will add all those links to the description in this episode as well, so you can find everybody there. And if the listeners, if you listen, if you're still busy listening at the moment, that means you got value of this content, and we'll appreciate you like, subscribe, and all those things there to keep this machine moving. Chepape, in wrapping up, I mean, we are now literally in the half of the year. All this crazy stuff that is happening with a new government regime coming in and out. Are you still very energetic? You still very optimistic for the rest of the year? You still are very busy?
I am. I mean.
Sorry. So is there outside of William Humphries, is there a show coming up where we, with your work? So can you just tell us a little about that, and then we can wrap up?
Yeah, I just concluded an exhibition, my first museum exhibition in the US, which I did very well. And I'm going to have an art exhibition at Polokwane Art Museum. It will be a sort of homecoming. It will be an exhibition that looks at sort of over 15 years of my practice as an artist. And it's a great privilege that this time around I'll be exhibiting a solo exhibition at the Polokwane Art Museum. So my work will be shown there, and my work can be accessed on Facebook and Instagram, and my works are for sale. And
most important.
And the interesting thing about my work is that you can buy it through installment of your choice, of your choosing. So there is no such a thing that people cannot afford my work, because they can. And for the past 10 years, I've been selling my work through installment, where a person can purchase 5,000 artwork through installment of a year or two. Because for me, the priority is not for them to prioritize their money on my work, but to still have that access to my work by making a deposit and paying over time. This month you put 200 rand, next month you have nothing, 6 months down the line you have still nothing to put on that installment plan, because there are so many things that needs money. But I've seen the smiles of people who upon putting their final payment, and they come and collect their works, so I send the works to them. They are very excited. So yeah, my work is accessible.
That's actually it's funny we should end off with that. I should have brought it in the beginning, because that's another thing I would actually want to explore about in a future episode, is the various means of that people can buy and purchase art. That's also because we have so many ways of paying, and your concept of paying over a long period of time. There's also there's it's actually as simple as it sounds in theory. It also takes some practice, and you need a trust factor and so forth. And I think just and I've said this like multiple times on this platform, artists are entrepreneurs. We have that brain. We know how to manage time, we know how to manage money, and we know how to manage expectations. I think the expectations part to me is the big deal, because that is a serious skill. And I think artists, we got the swag, we have got taste. We just got the best taste in everything. So when I say expectations, we know how to handle that. So man, thank you, my brother, for coming through.
Thank you so much for this platform, and I'm very proud of you that you still hanging on and going big, because if you were not passionate about this, you wouldn't be on the 148th or 149th episode. So keep up the good work, man.
Thank you, my brother. Thank you for coming through, man. And with that, we will call it a wrap.
Great, thank you.